welcome. Come on in. Come on in. It is day 3. Side hustlers. Let me see you in the comments when your audio is together and your cameras are on and popping with the glow. Hey, Anna.
I
You
don't
might
know.
come up in the conversation today.
I don't know if I'm glowing at all, but I am here.
You are glowing.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Hey, happy Friday. Let's see. Katie Ann LePay is in the building. Who else is here? I see Melissa Akinlawa. Did I say it right?
You
Beautiful.
did say it right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Hey, Ryan. Great to see you back. I am so excited about today. That's what I say every time. I know I say it every time. I'm feeling great today. I want to see most of us back before we get started. It's only 12:32. So you guys pop a little roll call in the comments. Let us know if you are open for work, if you are open for side hustling. Drop your email. Y'all know every time I'm on a webinar or a meeting with some outside folks, I always take note of who's in the room and I look them up on LinkedIn and I start making connections. I am LaTroya Hester, founder of Comms Noire, and this is your tried and true tactics for getting out there and getting clients. Now, I'm going to be talking to you a lot today about the things that I have learned, about the guidance that I get from a lot of other independent consultants. You are welcome to give a thumbs up to things that you're familiar with. You are welcome to add your own advice and guidance today. So I want to see the interaction just like it's been there all week long. I'm super excited. And we have a couple of extra things to share once we get to the end of the session. So stick around, obviously, as always, to the very end. I'm going to do these announcements one more time for the people in the back. On May 3rd, we have Comms Noire Picture Day. Y'all, this day is really just networking. It's a free brand photo shoot. We're having it at Vera Lofts. So if you are in the Atlanta area, come through. I mean, just have fun, get glammed up. The environment is amazing. There's 6 different sort of places in the space that you can do. Everyone gets a certain amount of time with Tamisha Faxio. I don't know if you guys have followed her on Instagram yet, but Tamisha Faxio, look her up, Misha Photography. She just published this beautiful coffee table book about mothers and daughters washing their daughter's hair. It's gorgeous. Anyway, she is a photographer and she is about to make all of us look as credible as we already are on the inside. I know that you guys come up with ideas for holding yourself back, like, oh, I gotta get some headshots before I put myself out there. Get them done May 3rd. All right, Open Tab Tuesdays, virtual networking with no particular agenda. Come on through. On Wednesday, day 1, we talked about the 5 soft truths of side hustling. Next week, I'm gonna give you all the hard truths. I'll tell you the real deal about the struggle that comes with side hustling so that you can be prepared and you guys can ask questions. And I won't bring you all this bubbly delight. I will tell you some tough stuff so that you can really be strong enough to make those steps forward. But right now, we're living the soft life and we're talking about all of the amazing things that can happen for you if you have a process for launching your side hustle. Don't forget, later in May, we are going to bring back the AI training as well. All right, I have a couple questions that I'm going to answer before I start with today's session because you guys keep sending me emails and I just want to let you know I hear you, I see you. And I want to acknowledge some of these because a few have come through more than once and it might benefit the group. All right, so the first question that I keep getting from multiple people is, legitimate. How can I squeeze in my side hustle when I'm already exhausted from work and family? All right, so it is true that it is difficult to juggle a full-time job with your side hustle and that you really, really do have to preserve some of your energy and your mental space and your even your good ideas. Some of those you need to save for your own side hustle. So one of the things I would tell you to do is to find at least, like, think about the year that you have at work and find at least 3 seasons throughout the year where you can give B+ effort at work. I know some of y'all A+ers are over here clutching your pearls and catching your breath, but we really do have to think about the fact that we have to reserve time for sleep, for eating, for our families, for our health, and for your own big ideas, for your own goals. That means that when you know there are some places throughout the year where you can let your 9 to 5 legitimately be a 9 to 5, let it be a 9 to 5 so that you can cut off your full-time job and give space to your side hustle. Give that A+ and give your job B+ for just a little while. You'll know when it ramps back up. The other thing is you do need to think about letting go of control a little bit at work. I think a lot of times we are doing extra. Think about what's being measured at your full-time job. Think about what is being rewarded at your full-time job, and that will let you know where you can put your B+ efforts, where you can delegate so someone else can grow. Let go a little bit and delegate, all right? The other thing is that when you're thinking about your side hustle, some of you are saying, well, I don't have enough time, so I need help, but I don't have money, so I can't get the help that I need. Think about where you can invest to get the help that you need, so that you don't ruin your own reputation trying to work with someone who isn't up to snuff. You understand what I'm saying? We can talk about that a little bit more during Open Tab Tuesdays, but one of the next questions that I got was, how do I get help without risking my own reputation? And I think that, one, people can help you do smaller things that are not in your core of services, right? So if in your core of services you are offering graphic design, don't you keep that piece, but you let someone else handle your scheduling or maybe some of the other issues that are taking up a lot of your time. I really just want you to be mindful of the fact that you can get help, and it doesn't have to be costly help, especially if it's admin stuff or if it's something that's not in your wheelhouse and worth it for you to let someone else do. And then the last question that has been asked was, how do I connect with Comms Noire services? So one thing that I wanted to clarify is that Comms Noire, the membership, is an entity in and of itself. And then Comms Noire services, where we are providing communications services, that's a different company. And so if you want to, so when I'm doing work as an independent consultant, it's under Comms Noire services. So if you want to work with us, we'll talk to you a little bit about that at the end of this particular session. But spoiler alert, this whole side hustle has been a ruse, my friend. I was actually just doing all this to get you all ready, feeling confident, feeling capable, so that I can continue to reach out to so many more of you when opportunities come up for Comms Noire services. So we will definitely get into that. All right. If you are ready, alert, and already all the way here, ready with your notebook and your pencils and your pens, drop me a note in the comments so that I will know we are ready to go. Today's conversation, it's going to be pretty light. I mean, I'm real hyped because I only slept a couple hours last night, but I am excited to talk to you about 3 basics that you can't neglect when you're thinking about positioning yourself and marketing your services. We're going to talk about 5 tried and true tactics for putting yourself out there, for being seen, for getting out there, and for getting clients. That's the other question everyone asks: how do I get clients? As if they're not out there. I promise you they're out there. And then we're going to talk about becoming a Comms Noire preferred vendor. I want you to take notes. There's no PDF or worksheet for today, and so be sure to take notes. Don't just say you're going to take the notes. Take them. All right. So your hairstylist's hair is never done. I think people say the cobbler has no shoes, but for some reason in my mind, I always say my hairstylist's hair is never done. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that concept, but the idea is that we are often really confident and really competent when it comes to doing work for other people. But when it comes to doing work for ourselves, we just are, analysis paralysis. We suddenly can't think straight because we're too close to the issue, and we need someone who's outside of it to really help us. Suddenly you can't write and you're a writer. Suddenly you can't design your own website and that's what you do at work. And so I really encourage you to be okay with that and understand that the cobbler sometimes has no shoes. And that's why I'm going to start off with 3 things that I don't want you to forget while you are working on your own business. This is stuff that as comms folks, we already all know. But I really want you to not forget the basics. Number 1, basics, okay? Because sometimes we hop into our side hustle and forget all of our communications disciplines. It's to clarify your own mission and goals, okay? Write down your brand story. Think about what it is you're going to talk about, how you're going to message your side hustle, and get your elevator pitch together. If that's something that's new to you, come the summer, I'm doing an entire in-depth communications strategic planning summer series, but we are going to get ourselves together starting now. So think about your brand story, think about that elevator pitch, and how the elevator pitch, sometimes you get down the elevator and they want to keep talking to you, and now you're in the parking lot. You have to have a plan for that as well. So we're going to be talking elevator pitch to the parking lot pimping, like my husband says. But yeah, we will talk about all of that during that summer series, but I want you to start putting on paper your brand story, your elevator pitch. And I also want you to think about measurable objectives to get you to where you're trying to go, okay? Next, basics. Please don't forget your basics. You've got to think about your target audience, all right? If you are familiar with doing a persona, it might help you to do a persona so that you can think about how you're going to be messaging your audiences, but you need to put on paper, who would you like to serve? Who's most likely to actually pay for your services? This is going to be your target audience, okay? You already know this, but just a little refresher so that you don't forget because you're doing your own business. You need to think about your audience's demographic and their psychographic. Think about what kind of person they are. Are you going to be marketing your services to program managers who need a comms person? A lot of my work is with program managers. Is it a small business, a small Black business? Are these services for working parents? Are these going to be the early adopters that are like, oh, this is a new product, a new service, a new entrepreneur, I'm going to sign right up? Are you going to be marketing to those types, or to the people who need to see a lot more before they're willing to sign on with you? The other thing is, if you're going to be marketing your services primarily to decision makers, that's going to change the way you message. If they're the ones that have the money, then you're going to be messaging them. And so think really clearly about who your audience is. When I do strategic planning, I always say, if you can't go in depth, we just do audience, channel, call to action, keep it simple. If you know your audience, then you know where they're hanging out, you know where you can message them. Social media, in-person events, that'll tell you whether or not you need a business card, or if you really need to be on social, or some other way to communicate with your particular audience. And lastly, again, don't forget the basics. Make sure you have something for them to do once you message them. So if that's going to be book a call, to learn more, buy something, view your portfolio, be specific. Let's not forget our basics, okay? And then the last point I wanted to make sure that you are always thinking about is the benefit of niching down so that you can focus your messaging. You know, the whole idea of what do I say when I get ready to say it? Well, it actually helps you to be more specific and more creative with your messaging if you have a niche offering. So become a specialist and then communicate that thing. I do this. No, I do this. All right. If you focus on just 1 or 2 services and one particular audience, and then you package up just 1, maybe 2 processes, you're going to have a lot more success. If you're worried about niching down too far and then not being able to say that you do this, that, and the other as well, remember, being a part of the Comms and More community means that you get to talk to partners about filling in those gaps. So you really don't have to say no to opportunities because you have people who are right here who can support you in filling in those gaps. I would say that Anna, who's on the line right now. So I got an opportunity to do a training series with an organization, and they wanted communications training. They needed some volunteer program trainings, and then they also wanted grant writing trainings. Well, I'm like, I can do all of these, but I am not the expert when it comes to grant writing. But I have someone right here in the network who is. And because in that particular case, Anna, as an elite Noire member, she had right of first refusal. So, and blew it out of the water, and then ended up getting more opportunities with that same organization immediately following. And so it really does help you to be a part of a community when you niche down, because it doesn't mean you have to say no. The other thing I want to say about niching down, yesterday, Belinda mentioned part of the way that you can choose your services is by focusing on what you love. And then Ace said, make sure that it's something that you can do pretty much on your own without a large team. Keep that stuff in mind. But I also wanted to remind you from our very first session that when you think about that Venn diagram, what's needed in the world, and then what are your favorite things to do and what you're really good at, where that intersects is a good place to start niching down. I thought about you, Chelsea. I'm glad you're here today because I was thinking about something you had mentioned in the comments yesterday about choosing your services. And that's why I sort of had this bullseye graphic here. If you're thinking about web development, us in communications know that that is a whole slew of disciplines. That's not like a one thing that a person really can be great at. And so if you want, you can say, okay, instead of web development, I'm going to do web design and copy. But then you can niche further from there and say, I'm going to do copy and just blogging. So I'm going to be a copywriter and a content creator for you in the area of words. But then you could say, well, actually, I can do blogging in particular to improve your SEO. You see how we're getting smaller and more specific? And then if you say, you know what, I'm blogging to improve SEO for a particular audience, now you're super niched and you know exactly how you're going to communicate what you want to communicate. And you're not limiting yourself, I promise, because people are looking for something specific, and it's easier for them to find you if you're specific. All right. So don't be afraid to niche down. You're not limiting yourself. And I promise there is a market for whatever it is. Look, there's a market for people who wanted sleeves for their blankets. There was a market for people who want shoes for their dogs. I don't know. People be out here looking for stuff specific. And so you don't have to think that there isn't a market for whatever you come up with. All right. So first put yourself out there, doubt yourself some other time, but not today. All right. So let's get into the 5 tactics for getting clients. Who's taking notes? Okay, I think Ebony's taking notes. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my spirit. All right, yesterday we said that we are not giving out free services, but there is a caveat. I want you to offer free work under this circumstance. We are going to create, this is just one option of the many that you can do, but I'm saying you can create a lead magnet, a lead product, or a free event as a part of a funnel that will demonstrate your services, allow you to introduce yourself to clients, and that way you can build trust and credibility with people before they hire you. This is not you giving away a ton of free services. This is a very specific kind of free service. This is what it looks like to build a funnel, okay? What you're really doing is you're building a list of potential clients by offering something that will give someone a quick win, something very simple that you create one time and that people can access. So we call that a freebie. It's also called a lead magnet. I'll give you a few ideas there, but when you make your lead magnet available, you're not going to give it out until someone gives you their email address, right? And some of you may be familiar with a funnel, and I'm trying to make it as simple as possible in case this is new to you. But the idea is, and you've probably experienced this before, you go to a website, a very simple landing page, you put in your email in order to get some sort of a cheat sheet or a checklist or something, a quiz that you're doing. But when you get these emails, now you have a potential client's contact information so that you can follow up with them again with something valuable, something helpful, and then you can check up on them and be like, hey, how you doing? Just making sure you don't have any needs. And then you say, and I'm here, my services are available. So let's talk a little bit about the freebie that you can be using in order to build up your list of potential clients. Lead magnets can be anything like a checklist, a cheat sheet, even a blog post, like to access this blog post that I've written up about a particular subject, or even a Canva template. If you're a graphic designer, it can be helpful to create a Canva template that people can access. And when they get a hold of your lead magnet, they're now being introduced to the quality of your work, and you've helped them in some way already. So now they're building trust with you. So a lead magnet is usually like a PDF, something easy to download. Oh, yes, I like that idea. A Zoom background, absolutely. That's a great lead magnet. You can do something like that. You can do a lead product. So it's something that you probably, I wouldn't suggest a lead product be free, maybe like low cost, but this could be an entry level sort of social media package. I'll do 3 social media things for you for some low cost, and then they get familiar with your work. And then you're being intentional. You're not just planning to do that one social media package, or that sort of, maybe you do a standard hour with someone to solve a quick problem. That time is because you are going to make the bigger service available later, okay? So it's intentional. It can be a free training or a webinar. It can be some social media content that you put out on a regular basis that's really helpful, that's giving people tips and information and things that, you know, they can actually employ just by following you on social, because you're doing it on a regular basis. You're giving them free information. That helps people get to know what you're like. That helps people know where you're really an expert, and then they'll be more confident in hiring you when the opportunities come up, okay? So anything like this here on this list can be what I would call a freebie or a lead magnet or a lead product. So if you think about the funnel, okay, and maybe you want to screenshot it. Again, this is an extremely simplified version of what could be a more complicated funnel, but it doesn't have to be. This funnel here, it starts with a freebie, free call, free event, free download. And then once you have emails, you will like collect it on a landing page, but you want an automated response so they receive that thing. Then you're going to follow up with them, maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe on an ongoing basis. But you're going to plan for your additional communications, and you're going to build trust. You're going to say, hey, I thought you might enjoy this article, or hey, you know, something funny, something witty, but something on an ongoing basis. It could be a series of 2 or a series of 10, doesn't matter. But the point is, you've got their emails, and now you're going to contact them. After a couple of contacts that are very, very helpful and valuable in nature, I want you to ask them how they're doing. Okay, this is the piece that I think sometimes gets lost in funnels. But remember, we're networking to build our actual potential client base and to build our network. So you're going to say, hey, what's on your plate right now? What's going on? Show actual concern, actual interest for what they have going on. And then you are putting yourself in the position to say, hey, I've got the answer for that. And you already know me because I've already shared and I've already helped you here or there once. Something that I think about is the importance of selling a problem. A lot of times when we are talking about our services and say, I can do this, I can do that, you're sharing a solution. But when you're sharing a solution, I'm gonna just be honest, you are talking about yourself, right? And most people are only concerned about themselves and their problems. And so when you're selling a problem, it's actually really helpful to just talk to them about their problem. Aren't you tired of this? Isn't this difficult? Isn't this hard? But guess what? I can help you with that. If you sell the problem, people are thinking about themselves, and they're going to naturally think about you as a solution. You don't have to focus on your own offer quite as much. You sell the problem. No. So Tiara, I just want to clarify this one point. You're not selling them a problem that they don't have. You're just keeping them in hyper focus on what that problem is, so that they know that you understand their problem, and that you understand the consequences of their problem, and that you understand what's at stake if they don't solve their problem, right? And then because you've already helped them with all of this, like, you know, hey, you got my freebie, because I know you kind of have that social media problem, but on my freebie, I got you this Canva template. Look at the quality of my work. Oh, do you need some tips? I put a social media post up, you know, and then eventually you say, hey, what's going on with your social media content these days? Do you need any help? Yeah, it is tough. I know it's hard to find low cost people. It's hard to find people who are Black and understand cultural competency. I get it. Like, yes. And then you say, but guess what? I create this kind of content. And so you already know me, holler at me whenever, right? That's how a funnel works. Yeah, to get to the solution. Absolutely. All right. So, number two, welcome, welcome, Sierra, as you're coming in the room. I see you. So, number two, build or join a network, okay, for referrals. Now, I talked to you guys on the day one about how important your referral network is because honestly, for most of the independent contractors and side hustlers that I know, they are getting a lot of their work through a referral network. It's a lot less of that intense marketing than you might think. So here's the deal. Your referrals are always going to start with absolutely impeccable work. Okay. Your side hustle, you're going to have to do A plus work on that. A plus work for your side hustle, A plus work for yourself, A plus work for your clients. Okay. So it starts with doing good work. That way they are already like team you, right? Now it will continue with a great deal of patience. And I'll talk about that if you guys want to hear about the hard truths at Open Tab Tuesdays next week. But truthfully, it takes time. Like from the moment you get to know someone to the time that you actually get a contract with that person, it could be. So I have experienced that it has been the longest for me so far has been about 6 months. I have heard people it taking a year before something gets signed. When it takes a year, those are usually very big dollars. Most of the time, from the time that I meet someone to the time that I get a contract with them, especially for, something that's like 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, it's usually a couple of months, maybe 2 weeks to 6 weeks is pretty much average for me. If anyone else has any other experiences, please drop that in the chat for all of our learning, because like I always say, I'm new here. I just started this. I am very new. I'm sharing with you all my experience up to this point. But the way you start meeting people, this is another slide that I was like, I feel like if I share this slide, they're going to be like, "Nuh-uh, that's not true." I get most of my contracts from virtual coffees. I'd be like, "Hey, on LinkedIn, what's up? What's on your plate these days? Hey, I realize that you're in whatever city or whatever field. And listen, would you love to have? I would love to have virtual coffee with you whenever you have a chance." People, well, very often will say yes, and we'll have fantastic conversations. That'll help me know that they're a possible for me to hire, but also I'm a possible for them to hire. This has actually worked. If you're from Atlanta, you know the Atlanta Beltline. I have made a total of $55,000 off walking with strangers on the Beltline. Not strangers, but like this is like, oh, I met you here. Oh, you live here. Let's go for a walk on the Beltline. Let's get to know. And they've hired me. And so for me, Atlanta Beltline is the new golf course. But the truth is, you can make connections just like that, your cold calls and your warm calls. You also make connections by showing up to virtual networking events, in-person networking events, anytime that there is a place for you to show up. Once you've decided that you're going to go forward with your side hustle, show up, because that's where partnerships are made. That's where I have been making. I've even made new partnerships off of my own Open Tab Tuesdays. So you guys should come, because it actually will help you to meet new people and to learn how other people are moving. Speaking of the way that other people move, I learned so much from my contractor friends. And one of the things that they do, and now I do, is sharing RFPs. So I gotta tell you, I've written a lot of grants and a lot of pieces of grants and lots of proposals over the years. And I've said, if that probably worked for myself, I'm never writing another grant again. I ain't responding to not now one of these proposals ever again, right? Maybe I'll just call Anna because she's a fantastic writer and she wins money. So anyway, point is, instead of applying for these proposals, I have learned that learn the game. Here's the game. You send them to people who run programs and say, hey, this RFP just came out. Did you get it? Well, listen, it sounds like it would be great for you. If you're interested, feel free to write me in. feel free to write me. And I'm available for this, and that, and the other. So sharing RFPs is actually a great way to provide a resource. Look, I found something for you, right? And keep the lines of communication open between you and potential clients, and keep you top of mind for them. I already talked to you guys about how it worked out for me over that first year of my contract experience of being an independent consultant. And so, keep this in mind, because I promise you, one opportunity leads to another. But when you've already worked with a client, it's really important for you to keep that relationship warm at all times. So one of the things that I do is I publish the reviews that people give me. I ask them for reviews. I have them do a survey, and I make them public. And they're going to be more prominent on the Comms Noire website here pretty soon, but I was sort of like testing out like how I would position it. But that's definitely something that's a big deal for me, and it has helped. The other thing that I would suggest for anybody and everybody is to keep up with people in a real old school way. I send thank you notes, I send New Year's cards, I check in, say, hey, how's it going? We did that strategic plan. Is your team still on board? Can I send you any resources? Things like that go a long way, because you're top of mind when something does come up. The other thing that you can do, which I felt kind of weird about at first, but I just did it because it was an idea and it was a helpful idea, is that I let people know, hey, I'm not taking any clients right now because I'm so busy, right? And then I say, but I am taking clients beginning June, so let me know if you need anything or if any of your associates need anything. And that's really helpful for people to be on your radar. I gotta say, I tried that last year, just straight up. This might go on my hard truths thing. I tried that last year, and it was crickets. It was like crickets for 3 months. And that was fine, because I was really trying to focus my attention on Comms Noire, the membership, and putting this side hustle, putting this in place, this particular series. But I was like, oh, maybe nope, nobody needs my services anymore. That's it. It's over. You have those moments like it's over. I promise you, I had no clients at 0 crickets. I mean, silence for January to February 28th. On March 1st, I don't know if everybody and everybody's mama got the budgets approved for whatever they were thinking about, but March 1st, I literally had 5 clients. And as one of my side hustle friends say, well, when it rains, it pours. I guess you just don't sleep and you get through it, And so absolutely, the follow-ups work. It just sometimes, as I said, takes patience. All right. The other thing I wanted to point out to you guys is that, a lot of you are sending me your resumes, which I like, which I appreciate, and I will use, and I can use. But what I've noticed in my journey as an independent consultant, which I know I'm just late on this because this is not new, but you might want to consider creating something other than a resume, in particular, a sell sheet or a capability statement. These are the things that are being requested of me most often these days. People will take my resume, but they will ask, especially for Comms Noire services, hey, send me a capability statement or a sell sheet. And on there, it can be high design. You can list your prices. You could not list your prices. You can brag on the clients you've worked with in the past, and you can be very clear on what services you provide. People like that. So as a number 3 way to put yourself in front of clients is you can send folks your capability statement or a sales sheet instead of your resume. That way you have something that's pretty slick and professional looking, but you didn't have to build a whole website, because I know that's also a holdup for folks. If you want, and if it's a part of what you do, go ahead and put together your portfolio website. People like those as well. All right, number 4. This is a favorite one of mine. Create partnerships, okay? Because collaboration beats competition all day long. Everyone say that out loud. Collaboration beats competition. And while you're saying it, somebody put in the chat, there is enough room for everyone. Nothing out here is saturated, I promise. Especially because there's only one you, and there's only 12 of us Black females out here doing the kind of work that we're doing. So it's not saturated. We can partner with each other, okay? We are powerhouses together and alone, and we always do better together. So if I were you, I would say find people with the skills to fill the gaps that you need to fill so that you can expand your service offerings, right? So you can still do just what you are wanting to do. And I had mentioned to you all, only thing I care about is teaching, training, and doing strategic planning. That's my favorite, right? I like events too. Like, don't get me started on State of Black Health. That's my baby. But I would say if I could start cutting out everything else, I am, and I will, and I have been. And so, but I've been very excited to be able to offer things that are completely outside of my wheelhouse because of my network. Because like I said, there's enough room for everyone. I have a client right now with Fulton County, and they need communications skill building for their community health workers. Now, I'm not a community health worker, but I know community health workers. I know people who are extremely skilled and have decades of experience working with community health workers. So I was like, well, I could do a 2-part training for you on storytelling so that they can get their messaging really, really tight. But I can also host a panel, and I can also bring someone in to talk about how to effectively use and engage community health workers in rural faith communities, because I got experts in my back pocket, in my community, in my network. So, never forget that you have access to the Comms Noire community whenever you need. Reach out to me and I will put you in touch with people. The other thing I'll say is find on purpose reasons to connect with other side hustlers. Case in point, Ace from yesterday's session. Ace is someone who I worked with one time a couple of years back, and ever since then we've been working around each other. Like, we are always working. Oh, I just worked with that client. Oh, I did too. Or I'm working with this client. Oh, I worked with her too. So we're always working nearby each other so we can communicate, but we don't work with each other right now. And I'm like, I really need a reason to engage with her. I think she's super dope. Y'all saw that she was super dope. So I was like, why don't you come be on this panel? Because that's an opportunity just for me to on purpose create another point of engagement between me and a professional who I respect and I want to continue a relationship with. So if you're thinking about how you can build relationships, come up with stuff. Just come up with something. I promise it's useful, it's helpful, because then you're going to be building more authentic and deeper relationships. The other thing is you should facilitate partnerships wherever you can. Be generous. There's enough space for everybody. In fact, when we're done with this call, there is a Comms Noire contractor. She was contracting with me, and 2 people have already reached out to me saying, "Hey, I see she's available for work. Like, can I get that number?" And I'm like, absolutely, yes, sure, 100%. I am going to brag on Comms Noire members whenever I can, and I will give you the hookup. So the point is, if you can facilitate partnerships, do that. If you can facilitate jobs for someone else, do that. Be generous, because those partnerships are how you build your own network. When people look out for each other, they look out for each other. You look out for me, I look out for you. And that's not even for your own benefit. It's like, this is how we do. This is how our community should do, right? Number 5, big one for me, obviously, because you guys, I know some of you, and I have read many of your resumes that y'all have sent throughout this boot camp. Y'all are dope. You're smart, you're capable, you do very good work at work. I've been stalking every last one of y'all on LinkedIn. I know about you. I know all about you. And so I would love for you, as you're building your confidence and as you're solidifying your side hustles, I want you guys to come and I want you to become Comms Noire vendors. In a couple of days, I'm going to launch a new page on the Comms Noire website that features side hustlers and entrepreneurs who I already know and who I like. If you are interested in being on that list, I want you to submit your resume or your portfolio to Comms Noire Services. That's my email address for now. Eventually there will be an intake process, but go ahead and send me what you have. If I don't know you personally already, I might want to do a virtual coffee to get to know you. But this is an opportunity for you to put yourself in front of other clients. I should have done some testimonials today, but I'm really, if you've worked with any of these clients, then drop a note in the chat and say something about it. But the point is, I want to be able to expand these opportunities for more of you as work comes. Sometimes there's no work in the field that you have, but a lot of times there is. So if you are interested in being listed as a preferred vendor through Comms Noire, holler at me. That's an amazing way to really expand your own network. The way that it works, I want to be really specific about this. You would be your own subcontractor. So if you're working independently or if you have a brand, you keep that, you keep all your branding, all of that. You'll subcontract with Comms Noire, and I will typically be the one doing the client service. And if you are doing strategic planning, or if you're a copywriter, if you're a grant writer, whatever the role is, you'll work directly with me and or work directly with the client. Pretty much everyone who has worked on a Comms Noire project has interfaced with the client in an in-depth way. So obviously those relationships are there for you to make. But when I can find the opportunity to work with a Comms Noire member, I will. Of course, Elite Noire members always have first right of refusal. So if you have joined the paid network, which is open today, guys, it is open today. I didn't even mention it. Yes, the Elite Noire option is open today. And so if you are interested in being a vendor with Comms Noire, you will get the first right of refusal. So you'll be the first ones that I call, and then you'll always have seniority. But please consider becoming an Elite Noire member, because as a preferred vendor, you will get first dibs on really cool opportunities. That's pretty much everything that I have for you. Those are those 5 really good ways that you can be reaching out to folks and getting yourself established, which are, start a funnel, think about your freebie, think about expanding your referral network. Don't think about it, do it, because it is as simple sometimes as virtual coffee and a walk in the park. Make sure that you are keeping an open mind and creating new partnerships, putting out content that let people know that you are available. That will all support your efforts. I promise. It does not have to be hard. You do not have to do paid ads. You don't have to be on TikTok doing every new trend. No, I know what you can do, and you can do this. Couple of things that I really want to share with you guys before you go. As I mentioned, we have the AI training happening in May. The Complete Strategic Comms Summer Series, that is not going to be a free series. That's going to be $497. For Elite members, of course, it is completely covered. It's going to be delivered live over several weeks. We're starting with the basics. So those of you who don't have a comms background, but somehow you're in comms work, we got you. We're starting from the basics. We're going to go through an entire process for understanding how you do a strategic messaging framework. I'm going to do my dual storytelling for impact series. And then we're going to go from elevator speeches to parking lot pimping. We're going to talk about the processes that you need to elevate comms within your organization, because sometimes, you work for orgs that think that we're just there to make flyers, and we do way more than that. And so I will talk to you about how to position comms within your organization. That's going to be a pretty hefty series. It's going to be professionally recorded as well as delivered live. That's why there's going to be a price tag to it. Of course, Elite Noire members, you don't pay for anything. Speaking of not paying, photo shoot May 3rd. If you are going to come and just hang out and take pictures, you don't have to buy them. If you buy them, they're $75 because the entire process is pretty swanky. But those headshots are truly valuable. Elite Noire members, you don't pay for that. Again, my members, you have 2 times a year your biannual coaching. You get resume review, and you get an hour of just career coaching. What should I be doing with my life with a professional? Take advantage of that. I wanted to put a number to it so that you guys can see. It's $250. Like, that's not cheap. Like, this is free with your membership. Okay. Gifts are going out in June. I'm not going to tell you what they are. The first year we had beaded engraved bracelets. Most of you have your water bottles, but this year it'll be something new. So I'm not telling you, but be on the lookout for it to come in the mail in June. And then guys, we have an in-person conference coming up at the end of the year. I'm trying to keep the tickets, the registration below 300, but please, please, please plan to think about coming to Atlanta if you're from here. Guys, I would love for you to be a part of our community. We are a group of social impact communicators, and we can help fill the gaps for one another. We can hold each other accountable, and we can inspire you to do the work that you really want to do. If you want to come and be a part of what we're doing, our membership is available. The Elite Noire membership, I'm making it available just for you guys who wrote out the Side Hustle Bootcamp with me for $297. I'm only keeping it at that point until Monday at 9 p.m. So if you want to become an Elite Noire member, get some of those benefits, get your pictures taken, get all the free stuff, get all the extra opportunities to engage, and get some real valuable work done on yourself and for your career, come join as an Elite member. I'm going to open the cart fully. I'm not announcing this until after it closes for you guys. So on April 15th, the regular price will be posted at $379. But right now, I mean, you can tell your friends if they wanted to join and they weren't on this. It's $297 right now, but just until Monday at 9 p.m. So we're going to open the cart for real, for real. I'll send out some emails, let everybody else know that the cart will be open at $379 from April 15th, and then it closes on May 3rd. So you can't join the Elite Noire at the Elite Noire level after May 3rd, but you can definitely always join the free membership. There's always good stuff like these trainings and like our meetups anyway. But since you guys had talked yesterday, I heard you guys loud and clear. If you join at $297, we will do a 4-week side hustle group coaching and accountability group, and we'll meet every week for 4 weeks. We'll work through the processes that we've been working through. Plus, we'll start really doing some coaching so that you can get your side hustle off the ground. We'll start that in May, but that's really going to be open to those of you who join at $297 by next Monday at 9 p.m. because I can't make that available to everybody. So just for you guys, I really appreciate you writing. Definitely remember that if your organization becomes a corporate member, then your fee is waived. So those of you who have any kind of influence at your organization, talk to them about Comms Noire. I'm happy to come in and do a presentation, but every corporate member organization, you get 10 memberships. So if your organization becomes a member, then you get a refund. If your organization doesn't, then of course it's a personal expense, but it's professional development, so they might reimburse you. You never know. Anyway, if you are interested in joining, please do so. Upgrade if you haven't already. I am so proud of you all for sticking through these last couple of days and taking yourselves seriously. I am extremely excited to see what you're going to do, and I definitely want to hear from you. If you have any questions, I'm going to hang around here for a few more minutes. We have about 10 minutes. So I am going to hang around. I'm happy to answer any questions about the way that the membership is set up, what we value. If you have questions about the membership, let me know. Anna, you can come off mute if you want to ask a question, or you can drop it in the chat. And I don't have
a question, but I wanted to just say thank you for building this community. It's not common to have a community quite like this for communication professionals. I'm a part of a lot of different other things that don't feel like they're applicable to the work that I do in the space that I do in the niche that I serve. But I just want to say kudos to you and give you your flowers, because this is a brilliant idea, and it's been incredibly valuable. So just wanted you to know that.
Thank you. And thank you for being, such a huge contributor so early on. All right. Any additional perks for being a founder member versus an elite member? I see you, Melissa. She's one of our founding members. You know what? I will come up with something. If you were a founding member, your price point is much lower, and it's that price forever. So that's already a lifetime perk. But since you brought it up, we will come up with something. Absolutely. We will.
Happy to think through ideas with you, LaTroya.
Okay. Well, let's do it. Let's do some virtual coffee on the side, and we'll come up with something. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, as I said, I'm going to hang out here, but I will keep my eye on the chat. Tawana, it was awesome to have you. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you guys implementing. Ebony, I'm so glad that you were here. Tiara, thank you so much for being here. It's one of those community health workers that I know. Let's see. You guys all have a fabulous weekend. Bye, Chelsea. It's my pleasure, you guys.